Okay, that to our next story. You know, a lecture series is a structured sequence of lectures designed to engage with the wider community. The University of Benin lecture series falls into this category. In one of the presentations at the event, Aaron Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, BKO, by definition, Director of Current Affairs TVC News, urged government at all levels to prioritize knowledge and innovation in addressing social challenges and promoting sustainable development in the country. Let's share the background to this story with you. Let's go there. Thank you.
Gathered at the Akindeko Auditorium of the University of Benin are administrators from various higher institutions across the country, united by a common goal to strengthen the ties between universities and their host communities. Given the crucial role university communities play in the advancement of knowledge and societal development, this year's theme was carefully selected to drive home the importance of engagement. Delivering the keynote address was the Director of Current Affairs at TVC Communications, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju. In his lecture, the guest speaker emphasized that national development is largely hinged on the vibrancy and relevance of institutions within any society.
It is crucial for university staff and students to be aware of and respect the culture and tradition of their host communities. This understanding fosters better community engagement, promotes harmony, and can even enhance learning for students. By understanding and respecting local customs, traditions, and values, universities can build stronger relationships with their host communities. Universities can actively participate in local events, initiatives, and volunteering programs, fostering a sense of shared responsibility and belonging. Exposure to different cultures can broaden students' perspectives, develop their intercultural skills, and prepare them for a globalized world. Cultural awareness can prevent misunderstandings and conflicts that can arise from unfamiliar practices or norms.
Other speakers commended the choice of topic and the guest lecturer, noting that the lecture has expanded perspectives on the need for stronger institutional engagement across Nigeria.
The theme of this maiden registry lecture, University Community Engagement, Perspective from the Nigerian Society and Media, is topical and speaks to the reality of the belief that no one is an island.
The event of today marks a significant milestone in our odyssey as a great citadel of learning that strives to provide quality education as we gather to celebrate excellence and share knowledge that will shape our ideology on university administration.
In terms of the goal of achieving food security, universities can play a big part. If universities can ramp up agri-production, the biggest beneficiaries remains people in the university environment, the university town. They will be the biggest beneficiaries of this because they will be able to access food at lower prices and supply will be guaranteed. So I believe that the relationship between university communities and the university staff and students will continue to get better once there is mutual respect and the desire to understand ourselves, understand our cultures a lot more. It's a good thing that I'm not against university communities trying to own the universities, as long as they are not overbearing about it. As long as they don't lead protests into the university premises to say, no, the DVC must also come from Benin. Oh, this person must also, no. But increasingly, they see the university as their own, and if they demand to be adequately represented in decision-making, the leadership position of universities, it is not a bad thing.
A robust educational system remains a cornerstone for national growth and social transformation. For this reason, enhanced collaboration and integration among university communities cannot be overemphasized.
It's time to have a registrar.
All right, folks. Adewale, essentially, what is coming to me is this: the aim of the exercise here is for the citadel of learning to think outside of the box.
Yeah. The main reason for having universities is to drive the intellectual power.
Yeah.
The intellectual
of a
powers
people.
Of any society.
Yeah.
And when we are talking about intellectual powers, we are talking about technology, we are talking about research, we are talking about, industrial development of that country. If you look at Asia, Japan, even Europe, the industrial development, the industrial revolution in the 18th century in Europe was driven by the universities in Europe. A lot of researches that took place in those areas became patent for them. And many of them are still collecting royalties on these patent rights. Research into different kinds of medicines, drugs, construction. So I think what Babajide has raised in this lecture is a very fundamental issue about the relationship that should happen between the university system and then the government in terms of working as partners to drive science, to drive art, to drive the economy, to drive industry. So I think, university is not just about how to strike. It's not just about students are looter. There are a whole lot of things that are built around. Look at the University of Cape Town, for instance. Its monthly revenue is about 63 billion rounds. You know what that means in dollars? The University of Michigan, there are two universities, the Michigan State University and the University of Michigan, about $3.1 billion. Where do they get these funds? Apart from federal government funding, state funding, the state where they are located also give them money. The local government funding, then endowment from private sector. Yeah. For instance, the Lagos state government can ask University of Lagos to design a bridge instead of giving it to a contractor. If you give it to University of Lagos engineering department, it's going to be cheaper. They are going to make a whole lot of money from it. Our pharmaceutical companies can fund IFE, ABU, BUK to do research, UNN, and then it could be on malaria. It could be on just anything. So they can put fund into this. It's not every time that we're just relying on importing everything from abroad. There should be a synergy between the industrial sector, our academic institutions. So I think once we're able to get that right, Nigeria is going to transform.
Otherwise, look on the inside.
Yeah, there are a lot of, if you go abroad, look at the AIDS vaccine that was developed in Russia. There was a Nigerian medical doctor there. If you go to abroad, go to NASA, go to very great institutions, you find Nigerians working there. It's not as if they cannot do the same, in our universities. Once those universities are properly funded, and then we create that synergy between the university and then
when I remember that in Nigeria,
the corporate world.
A Nigerian helped in designing a car version in Japan. Yeah. I asked myself, so this can also come from Nazareth?
If you go to Nigerian universities, especially Department of Engineering, I know that I did a story several years ago. One of the things designed at Faculty of Engineering UNM was a machine that can count every vehicle at toll gate. Okay. And then you'll be able to measure the revenue. But that thing is lying there. At UNILAG, a student, designed a machine. It's a mosquito repeller. It's just by the noise. The female mosquito and then the male mosquito. There's one that causes malaria, the other one does not cause malaria. So once he hears that noise, he thinks that there's a female mosquito that wants to meet. There's a male mosquito that wants to meet with the female. So the female mosquito that causes malaria will go away from that area. But those things are there in our universities, nobody is talking about. Linking them up, providing their adequate environment and funding for them so that they can complement the search for industrial growth. So I think it has raised a very fundamental issue that I also think government should look at it.
Yeah, because my mind quickly goes to Autonov, if you remember. Otonov and the
Professor Ojobi.
Ikorodu son, you know.
Yeah.
Professor.
Yeah. But, you know, beyond that, the relationship between the town and the week is a very important one. And this came up in the course of the lecture. Today, if you hear that a university will be set up in your community
environment,
you get excited because you know that the presence of the university will improve the economy of that community. If you go to Oye-Ekiti now, it has been completely transformed by the presence of the university.
Okay.
And happily too, the university is in the top 5. That's university in Oye-Ekiti is in the top 5 in terms of the preference of JAMB candidates. It even trumped some of the, many of the traditional universities, the first generation universities. So within a short time, rapid growth has happened in Oye. People have built hostels, and those who have built hostels will reap bountifully from it because the school does not have enough accommodation for its students. There are even some universities without hostels on the campus for students. So the community, many people in the community will build hostels and get involved in other businesses that will cause their income to soar. For example, in a university community, if you start a telephony business, you're selling phone accessories, you are repairing phones, you are selling phones itself. Because these young people, they don't play with their phones. So you will find that that piece of business will grow. So today we see communities up in arms against one another. When Oye-Ekiti, that federal university was set up, it led to a conflict between them and Kolade-Ekiti. And lives were lost because everybody wants a university sited in their community. The same thing happened when what was supposed to be Federal University Kaba was taken away and taken to Lokoja.
Wow. Because
of political differences between the then governor and Smart Adeyemi. You know? And that also led to loss of lives.
Needlessly.
Yes. So the importance of the university, not just to the communities in which they are located, but to the nation as a whole, cannot be overemphasized. The universities are centers of excellence, centers of research. We need to do our best to get our universities to live up to their full potential of helping us achieve a much better country in the area of science in many spheres of life. Unfortunately, even when TED Fund funds research development, sends university academics, university lecturers abroad, a lot of them don't come back. A lot of them don't come back. It's a big problem. They're supposed to come back and use what they have gained to benefit the society. But a lot of them just stay there. I was reading something that a Lagos official said too, that many of those that Lagos State government or civil servants that Lagos State government sends abroad for the purpose of seeking advancement in knowledge, they don't come back home. So at the end of the day, what they've gained, it is the universities over there or people over there that will benefit. How can we have a much better country with this kind of attitude? So our universities, first and foremost, must be funded sufficiently so that they can live up to their billing. I believe that the universities that we have, those of them that are agric universities, they are underperforming. We are talking about enhanced mechanized farming. These universities should lead
that will
it.
Become attractive.
Yes,
to the
they should lead research in crop science. They should lead research that can help us achieve greater yield from our cash crops that we plant. So government should fund them sufficiently so that a lot of the land that they have that's wasting away will be tractorized and will have improved food production. I talked about the fact that when tomato was very expensive, the Federal University of in Abeokuta, Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, it coincides with the time when their students were rounding up their practicals.
Okay.
And a lot of, they have these farms, tomato farms, by students. It was harvest time. There's no way the university community can eat all of what they have produced. They have to push it into the market in Abeokuta, and prices came down. So if it was rice that they grew like that, if it was cassava, it's the same way that they will help to bring down food prices. It's the same way. Cassava, for example, if you produce cassava in large numbers, if you produce palm fruit in ample quantity, it's the immediate environment, the university community, they are the ones who benefit the most from it. If you grow buds, you know, from your poultry in the university, it is the immediate environment.
That will.
Yes. Of course, you can also have deals with some eateries here and there who have partnership with you, encourage you to grow more of those things, while they will buy at good prices.
Well, you know, he just mentioned something. He just mentioned cassava. Remember the mad cow disease when it broke out in Europe?
Yeah.
Do you know it is the cyanide in cassava that put an end to it, and it gave Abia State a lot of room to go into cassava plantation. That's the idea.
Yes.
You know.
So there is a lot that the universities can do in many areas. That will benefit the larger society. But of course, they need good funding and they need to be focused.
All right. You know, so the Benin exercise is essentially an eye-opener.
Yes, it is. And I was very impressed with the crowd. And I was asking the VC public, I said, they do pay these people? Because it's only in public gatherings that I see that of crowd. I've given lectures in so many places. Well, I was impressed because the hall was packed. And I'm like, this is unusual for this kind of event, just to listen to a lecture. Elsewhere, if it's not politicians, you know, they will not see them come. And they were patient. They waited for hours.
Okay, so the debate continues. So we can borrow a leaf